watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I'm talking about watches. Well, it's come to that time of year again, the 11th of the 11th sale on Aliexpress. This is the time of year that we get some really good bargains on Aliexpress watches, so we tend to buy a few, we certainly tend to look at a lot, and we certainly tend to watch a few videos about how to get the best deals on Aliexpress. And I'm hoping that this is sort of one of those videos. Now, a few days ago, I released this video here. I think it's a video that's certainly worth watching. It's 3 rules that I've come up with myself that I use when picking the watches to buy on AliExpress. And I'm certainly thinking that those rules will help you when buying your watches as well. But today, what I'm going to talk about is my experiences over the past year of buying things on AliExpress. I've bought so many products from AliExpress this year, it's a little bit embarrassing. Lots of watches, lots of bits and pieces to use for this channel, t-shirts, straps, all sorts of things. And I thought I'd just share some of those experiences with you about shipping and about things going wrong. Also, once I've picked a watch that I want to buy, having used those 3 rules, which store do I choose and how do I ensure the watch that I want is actually what it is presented in or on those stores. So firstly, when we've picked a watch that we particularly like, we're looking at the pictures on the store, and I'm sure you can tell that those photos aren't always exactly real life photographs. They're photos that have either been touched up, modified, or perhaps they're not even photos at all. So it's really nice for people when they receive their watches, quite often they leave a customer review, and when they do that, they also attach a bunch of photographs of the watch. So I tend to go into these photographs and look at all of them that are attached and see what the watch actually looks like in real life. And this is how I pick which store generally I'm going to buy the watch from as well. Not just the quantity of the reviews, but the quality of the reviews. There are plenty of reviews on watches that say 5 out of 5 stars and say, yes, it arrived in 10 days, fantastic watch. Or, I've been wearing it a week, it runs 5 seconds fast, I'm really happy with that. Or just some very basic, wow, it's a great watch. And that's really good to hear. It's really good to get some positivity from people. But I'm really looking deeper than that, and I'm looking for people that you can tell a bit more like you and me, that are putting in some more effort, that are really, really interested in watches and are looking at the fine details of them. You'll even see reviews from watch reviews, and they'll be sort of saying, hey, check out my review on YouTube. But they tend to write a little bit more of a synopsis of the watch, which gives you a little bit more of an in-depth, real life sort of understanding of what that watch is like and if it is any good. And I'm looking for those reviews there, not just from other YouTubers, but from people who you can tell really like their watches and are sort of nitpicking a little bit so you can get a better understanding whether it's actually a good watch or not. So over the past sort of 12 months, I've bought a bunch of stuff from AliExpress. I've bought a bunch of watches, I've bought accessories, straps, bracelets, I've bought some lighting for this channel, I've bought some t-shirts, and I thought I'd just share with you those experiences that I've had, both with how long it's taken to arrive, what happens when it hasn't arrived, and what happens when it has arrived with a bit of an issue. Now I have to say, all the watches that I've ordered and all the more pricey things that I've ordered, the slightly more expensive things, have all arrived within 3 weeks. That is from China to Australia, and I'm feeling fairly happy with that. The watches especially have all arrived within 2 weeks. Now the slightly cheaper things like a $7 watch strap or a $15 t-shirt have arrived within about 2 to 3 months. So you can sort of see they're obviously using a couple of different shipping methods, and on those cheaper items they're using the slower transport. But 2 things haven't actually arrived. One was a fairly cheap leather watch strap, and one was one of those t-shirts I was talking about. I got to about 4 months and they still hadn't arrived. I contacted the stores individually and said, hey, this item hasn't arrived. One got back to me straight away and offered me a refund. The other one didn't get back to me straight away, so I opened a dispute through AliExpress on the app on the phone, which is very quick and easy to do, and within a day that money had been refunded to me. So on both those occasions I got my money back fairly quickly, and I was quite happy to get my money back even though I didn't get the item. Now I've had 2 watches arrive that have had a couple of problems. Both of them have been to do with the bracelets. The first issue I had was with this Pagani design watch. One of the pushers on the clasp had snapped off completely. So what I did was I jumped on the messenger service on the app on the phone directly in regards to this product. I sent through a couple of photos of the issues. I then started to type a message to say, hey, watch has just arrived. One of the pushers on the clasp has actually snapped off. And before I'd even sent the message, they had received the photos and they'd come back to me saying, I'm so sorry, we'll send you out a brand new bracelet. So I was quite impressed by that. I hadn't even finished typing the message describing the issue. I just sent her a couple of photos of the broken pusher. The process then was that I had to pay $1 for this invoice, which then linked a tracking number to it, and they sent me out a brand new bracelet. So it did cost me an extra $1, and it did take an extra 10 days for the new bracelet to arrive, but the experience with this store on Aliexpress was very positive, and I was very impressed by it. The second issue I had was with this Chronos watch. Again, there was an issue with the clasp. It had been misaligned slightly. It wasn't able to be fixed. I had a bit of a conversation with them. Unfortunately, it was a holiday over there at the time, but they still ended up responding to me. It was just a little bit slower than my previous experience with the Pagani Design Store. I ended up sending them through a video trying to explain what exactly was the problem. And they came back to me saying, "I'm really sorry, we don't have a spare part for that." And they offered me a partial refund for the watch. So it wasn't a perfect outcome for me because it still has a little bit of an issue. It does work. I've been able to rig it a little bit so it works. It's just a little bit hard to close the clasp now. But they did give me a partial refund, so I did get a resolution. So I can still say that it was a positive experience, and they certainly did want to try and help me throughout that experience. Okay guys, I really hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope it gives you a little bit of understanding of some things you can do with shops and stores on Aliexpress if there are issues. Give you a little bit more confidence that things are going to arrive, and if they don't, that you should get a refund. And I really hope you buy some fun, nice watches in the next few days. I know I certainly am, and I'll be bringing them to you shortly to review. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in another video.